It's the morning star drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the morning star drive, you know.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Thursday, September 16th, and this is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So what is going on today on this wonderful Thursday? We got some coronavirus updates, current news from around the world, a question and answer, and of course, a brand new segment from Yuan Yu from Singapore called Sport Science. So, how are you guys doing today? It must be wonderful. You guys had an amazing Wednesday service last night too. It's Thursday. We're getting into the end of the week, so hope you really enjoyed the word and also enjoying your life so far this week. So let's get this day started together here on the Morning Star Drive. I just want to remind everyone to keep liking, commenting, and I want to hear from you guys and see how you're doing. Now, those of you who know, tonight there's going to be another video from Espresso with Sky, and today's video is going to be about, is there more than just heaven and hell? And of course, it's something that's really, really on a lot of people's minds. And sometimes we don't know how to explain it, but we'll get some good reasoning and some good biblical references to show people that, yeah, the Bible does show that there's more than just heaven and hell. Also, this Sunday, we'll be meeting another member from America. It's going to be a really, really cool interview because it's live in person. We're outside the church. It's nice and sunny. And we're going to meet Mason Mendez. So I hope you guys will really enjoy this super inspiring interview with Mason. Of course, and this week, we all know that Kiara Williams from New York is being interviewed, and a lot of you are enjoying that one also, all right? So let's get this. Let's get into the featured artist of the day for this wonderful Thursday. We're going to start off with The Sky from Japan, and of course, they are one of the newest artists in Providence that we've met. Really, really good, and I believe the lead singer is Amatsu Sora, and he's really good. And if you guys have heard the cover he did for All of Me, he's a really, really good singer. So we're going to listen to Spring Emotion. And then the second song is going to be from Justar Aiden Verdi from New Zealand. And of course, she has a brand new single coming out tomorrow. So I'm really, really hoping that she can give us an explanation of how this song came about. And of course, last but not least, we have Cameron Fry Takes a Stand from Justar Aiden Verdi. And then tomorrow, we will have, the third song for today is Zeniac from the Paper Music Associates in Korea. And that song is Star Launcher. So as we're doing the 70-day prayer condition, I hope that you guys can always put in a little prayer for all these member artists from around the world.
No 声に余ったみたいだ。ああ、春の風にさまったみたいだ。ああ、僕の声が君と重なる。ああ、心の中見せてください。新しい景色、新しい時も今までの記憶消えて生まれ変わるみたいに君の秋の雨ください。切ないほどに離れないまま言葉じゃなくていいからずっとずっとそばでの声が届くようにと枯れた涙で祈るばかりだ。別々の世界に分かれていても未だに信じているよ。春の雨に打たれて君の秋 空が目の奥を突き刺している水面に映るあなたがいる世界に君の愛の雨ください切ないほどに離れないまま言葉じゃなくていいただずっとずっとそばで
I'm ready to take the heat. I'm ready to take a stand. I'm not gonna stand for this, being pushed around again. I hate to see you kiss your car, and then you go and hate your girl. So hit me with all you've got, 'cause I'm ready to face you now. I'm ready to take the heat. I'm ready to take a stand. I'm not gonna stand for this, being pushed around again. I hate to see you kiss your car, and then you go and hate your girl. So hit me with all you've got, 'cause I'm ready to face you now. I made myself small, I hid in a corner, I played the good girl, not this time, no longer. I made myself small, I hid in a corner, I played the good girl, not this time, no longer. I'm ready to take the heat, I'm ready to take a stand. I'm not gonna stand for this, being pushed around again. I hate to see you kiss your car, and then you go and hate your girl. So hit me with all you've got, 'cause I'm ready to face you now. I made myself small, I hid in a corner, I played the good girl, not this time, no longer. I made myself small, I hid in a corner, I played the good girl, not this time, no longer. I'm ready to take the heat, I'm ready to take a stand. I'm not gonna stand for this, being pushed around again. I hate to see you kiss your car, and then you go and hate your girl. So hit me with all you've got, 'cause I'm ready to face you now. I'm ready to face you. I'm ready to. I'm ready to. I'm ready.
A decade has passed by the day you declared the farewell. At that time you told us what true happiness should be. Unknown omega star appeared along the axis of space and time. Welcome back and stay for a new language of eternity. On a golden mega structure built, you put all the words, let there be light. In a moment of a celestial miracle. Do you recognize me? You've waited for me. I'm right here. I remember you calling my name. Time for me to say nice to see. fired from the temple you missed for so long. Collisions occur greatly from now on. Get ready for a rendezvous. I see the blue shifted light from you. In a moment of a celestial miracle. Do you recognize me? You've waited for me. I'm right here. I remember you calling my name. Time for me to say nice to see again. The day has come at last. It is not a dream. A decade could never make you old. So take off and fly through the sky with the golden fractals. Oh, it's revelation. We will synchronize with those who pray for us. Are we know your love's always the same. Time for us to cry out. We're right here for you.
And there you have it. That is Xeniac from PMA in Korea, and that song is Star Launcher. That was actually one of the most popular songs on their SoundCloud account too. Before that, Juice Star Eden Verity from New Zealand with Cameron Fry Takes a Stand. And yes, tomorrow, brand new single comes out, so I hope you guys will really, really enjoy that one too. And then last but not least, we have The Sky from Japan, and that song is Spring Emotion. Okay, so let's get into some like news going on around the world, starting with some coronavirus updates. We have in the world, there's like 226.8 million cases with 4.66 million deaths at a 2.05% mortality rate, which is good because it went down on the 0.01%, which is great. Top 5 countries going by daily infection rates and daily death rates. We have the U.S. on top, and this is huge. They have 142,000 cases in a day. This is where I am right now, obviously, and 1,934 deaths in a single day. So this is way above every other person, because in second is Turkey with only 27,000 cases, 276 deaths. India with 27,000 cases with 281 deaths. The UK, 26,000 cases, 185 deaths. And then Iran rounds up the top 5 with 22,000 cases and 408 deaths in a single day. Over here in North America, of course, the US is on top with these, like, they're not records yet, but it's huge numbers, almost hitting 2,000 deaths in a day. Mexico in second, once again, with 4,100 cases with 221 deaths. And then Canada has 4,000 cases with 24 deaths. All right, so let's take a look at top 3 news going around the world. Okay, we're going to start off with Afghanistan. And of course, we know this takeover that happened within the last couple of months. And we see that these, what happened is there's news, sources say the Taliban leaders were in a bust up at the presidential palace. And a major row broke up between leaders of the Taliban just days after they set up a new government in Afghanistan. Now, this is from a senior Taliban official. Okay. Now, supporters of 2 rival factions reportedly brawled at the presidential palace in the capital, Kabul. Now, the argument appeared to center on who did the most to secure the victory over the U.S. and how power was divided up in the new cabinet. Now, the Taliban have officially denied the reports, but what we know is the group seized control of Afghanistan over the last month and have since declared the country an Islamic emirate, and their new interim cabinet is entirely male and made up of senior Taliban figures, some of whom are notorious for attacks on U.S. forces over the past 2 decades. Now, the dispute came to light after a Taliban co-founder, Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, disappeared from view for several days. Now, one Taliban source told BBC that Mr. Baradar and Khalil-ur-Rahman Haqqani, the Minister for Refugees and a prominent figure within the militant Haqqani network, had exchanged strong words as their followers brawled with each other nearby. Now, a senior Taliban member based in Qatar and a person connected to those involved also confirmed that an argument had taken place late last week. Sources said the argument had broken out because Mr. Baradar, the new deputy prime minister, was unhappy about the structure of their interim government. The row also reportedly stemmed from divisions over who in the Taliban should take credit for their victory in Afghanistan. Now, Mr. Baradar reportedly believes that the emphasis should be placed on diplomacy carried out by people like him, while members of the Haqqani group, which is run by one of the most senior Taliban figures and their backers, say it was achieved through fighting. Now, Mr. Baradar was the first Taliban leader to communicate directly with the U.S. president, having a telephone conversation with Donald Trump in 2020, and before that, he signed the Doha Agreement on the withdrawal of U.S. troops on behalf of the Taliban. Now, meanwhile, the powerful Haqqani network is associated with some of the most violent attacks that have occurred in Afghanistan against Afghan forces and their Western allies in recent years, and the group is designated by the U.S. as a terrorist organization. Now, its leader, Sirajuddin Haqqani, is the interior minister in the new government, and rumors about a fallout have been spreading since late last week when Mr. Baradar, one of the best-known faces of the Taliban, disappeared from public view. So there was a speculation on social media that he might have died. The Taliban sources told the BBC that Mr. Baradar had left Kabul and traveled to the city of Kandahar following the row, and the Taliban have maintained that there was no argument and that Mr. Baradar is safe, but have released conflicting statements on what he is currently doing. A spokesman said Mr. Baradar had gone to Kandahar to meet the Taliban supreme leader, but later told the BBC Pashto, later told the BBC that he was tired and wanted some rest. So many Afghans will feel they have good reason to doubt the Taliban's words, because in 2015, the group admitted to covering up their founding leader Mullah Omar's death for more than 2 years, during which time they continued to issue statements in his name, and speculation remains over the Taliban supreme commander Hibatullah Akhundzada, who has never been seen in public, and he's in charge of the Taliban's political, military, and religious affairs. So that's what's going on in Afghanistan. In second news, we're going to go back to North and South Korea. Of course, we know that last week there was ballistic missiles testing, right? And what happened just recently is North and South Korea both tested ballistic missiles hours apart from each other. So North and South Korea have tested ballistic missiles hours apart from each other, highlighting an arms race on the peninsula as nuclear talks with the North remain stalled. Now, the North fired 2 ballistic missiles across its east coast, its first test with such missiles in 6 months, and a fresh breach of UN resolutions. The test came as South Korea and China discussed the North's nuclear issue. Hours later, the South tested its first submarine-launched ballistic missile. Now, the test of the missile, known as the SLBM, was pre-planned and not in reaction to the North's latest launches. It makes South Korea the 7th country in the world with such technology. Now, the president of South Korea, Moon Jae-in, who attended the test, said South Korea now had sufficient deterrence to respond to North Korea's provocations at any time, urging the South to continue increasing its weapons programs to overwhelm North Korea's asymmetric power. Now, the comments were criticized by Kim Yo-jong, sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who described them as illogical and regrettable, warning that they could lead to a breakdown in ties, state news agency KCNA reported. Now, in North Korea's test, the short-range missiles flew around 800 kilometers at a maximum altitude of 60 kilometers, and South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff said, but basically he said this, and they were launched from central inland areas of the country and flew east towards the Sea of Japan, also known as the East Sea, the JCS added. South Korea and the U.S. were conducting analysis to determine which type of missile was used. Now, the Japan defense minister said later that the missiles had landed inside Japan's exclusive economic zone, and UN resolutions ban North Korea from carrying out tests with ballistic missiles, which can carry either nuclear or conventional warheads, in efforts to curb the country's nuclear program. But the recent launches show North Korea has continued to develop its weapons despite a severe economic crisis. So experts say Pyongyang carries out such tests to improve its technology while trying to increase its leverage in negotiations with Washington. And the U.S. wants the country to give up its nuclear and missile programs in exchange for sanctions relief, but the North has refused. Japanese Prime Minister Suga called the North Korean launch outrageous, while the U.S. said it posed a threat to the neighbors and the international community. Earlier, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi held talks with his South Korean counterpart in Seoul and said all parties should work to promote peace and stability on the Korean peninsula. So That is quite interesting to hear that both the North and South launched on the same day. And last on today's news is about Facebook and Instagram. It's very interesting. So Facebook, they found out that they knew that Instagram is harmful to teenage girls, and this from the Wall Street Journal. So documents seen by the Wall Street Journal show that Facebook knows Instagram is toxic for young girls, which strays from the tech giant's public position on the matter. So for the last 3 years, Facebook has studied how its Instagram photo sharing app affects the mental health of its millions of young users. And the firm's researchers have repeatedly found that Instagram is toxic to a sizable percentage of them, particularly teenage girls, according to internal Facebook documents obtained by the Wall Street Journal. Now, basically, they said, we make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls. And this is from one of the slides in a 2019 presentation by researchers that was posted by Facebook's internal message board. Teens blame Instagram for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression, said another slide seen by the Wall Street Journal, and this reaction was unprompted and consistent across all groups. So the Instagram documents are part of a trove of internal Facebook communications reviewed by the Wall Street Journal and show that Facebook has made minimal effort to address these issues and actually minimize them to the public. So as part of a series entitled The Facebook Files, the Wall Street Journal on Monday reported that internal Facebook documents revealed that the social media company has built a system that exempts high-profile users such as politicians, celebrities, and journalists from some or all of its content rules, while publicly claiming that its more than 3 billion users are given an equal platform. So there's a program known as Crosscheck, and it shields millions of VIP users from the company's guidelines and rules around what content may be removed. So revelations from internal documents describing Facebook's research on the impact of Instagram, published on Tuesday by the Wall Street Journal, appear to be the deepest dive yet into what the tech giant knows about its impact on teens' mental health, and reveals a gap between Facebook's understanding of itself and what it reveals to the public. So among teens who reported thinking about suicide, 13% of British users and 6% of American users trace the desire to take their own lives to Instagram. Okay, that's pretty scary. And more than 40% of Instagram's users are 22 years old and younger. And some 22 million teens log onto Instagram in the US every day, which is a lot higher than the 5 million teens signing on to Facebook. So for Facebook, which paid $1 billion for Instagram in 2012, expanding its base of young users has been crucial in recent years as fewer and fewer young users turn to Facebook for their social media needs, show the materials seen by the Wall Street Journal. And the research that they've seen is that using social apps to connect with other people can have positive mental health benefits. This is what CEO Mark Zuckerberg told a congressional hearing back in March when lawmakers probed him about children and mental health. Then in May, the Instagram chief, Adam Mosseri, said that research suggests the app's effects on teen mental health are quite small. So the dive into Instagram's impact is made up of focus groups, diary studies, and surveys of tens of thousands of people in 5 presentations over 18 months. And researchers found that some of the problems were specific to Instagram and not social media in general, right? So its social comparison is worse on Instagram, states Facebook's research, referring to the tendency of users to compare themselves to others posting on the site. While other apps like TikTok and short video apps are grounded in performance, Instagram focuses on the body and lifestyle. So the pressure to look perfect and have an ideal way of life could send teens spiraling towards eating disorders and depression, internal research found. So basically, the research said aspects of Instagram exacerbate each other to create a perfect storm. So that is quite scary when you think about Instagram, especially for young teens. And I think that's something that a lot of us have to really think about, that we shouldn't allow these younger teens to be affected by that, or educate them really well. Okay. So now let's get into some sporting news. So we're going to start off with news going on in the NBA. So sources say that the Houston Rockets, John Wall, former NBA All-Star, he was considered, he had the max, he got a max contract too. He's going to get like millions of dollars, and they're working with him to find a new home. So they're working with him to find a good trade deal. So the Houston Rockets and John Wall have agreed to work together in an attempt to find a trade destination for the veteran point guard, as the franchise is committed to moving forward with Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green as its starting backcourt. Now, if you think about those two as a starting backcourt, that means Wall, who's only 31, is not going to even be in the starting lineup, which is not very good, because Wall, think about this, He's due $91.7 million over the next 2 seasons, including a player option for $47.4 million in 2022-23, a contract that makes attempting to trade him extremely difficult. Second is Aaron Gordon on the Denver Nuggets. He agrees to a 4-year, $92 million extension, and the deal was first reported by The Athletic, includes a player option for the 4th year in 25-26. His agent told ESPN. So it includes $88 million in base salary and $4 million in incentives. Okay, so that's great news for him. Congratulations to Aaron Gordon. In soccer, Manchester United, second game with Cristiano Ronaldo. They're playing in the Champions League, and what happened is they lost to the Young Boys 2-1, even though Cristiano Ronaldo scored the only goal. So you see that even though they did sign Cristiano Ronaldo, it seems that they have other problems besides just signing this guy here. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at the NFL. And what happens here? Well, NFL had its opening week, and the ratings average of 17.4 million people watching is up 7% from 2020. The NFL's kickoff weekend ended up having the second highest TV ratings for week 1 over the past 5 seasons. And the 16 games averaged 17.4 million viewers on television and digital properties. That's a 7% increase over last season, which was at 16.3 million, so 1.1 million more, and nearly equal to 2019, which averaged 17.6 million and remains the highest since 2017. So the numbers were likely to increase after last season was played during the pandemic. And NFL games ranked as a top 6 broadcast for the past week. Nearly 23.2 billion minutes were viewed for the NFL, making it the largest week 1 minutes total since 2016. So great news for the NFL. Got a lot more TV coverage, which is good for them because that's why the TV companies pay a lot of money for that. Okay, so that is the news, sporting news, and news around the world for today, which means we're going to move into the golden time. So what are we going to talk about here today? In this golden time, we're going to start off with Life of Heaven, It's So Good, and then According to the Lord's Will, so we can prepare our hearts and get ready for a time a little bit more spiritual. So as one body of the Morning Star Drive, let's spend this time giving praise, honor, and glory to the Holy Trinity.
Created on earth for the perfect world of heaven. If you live with the Lord and all His earth, and then that's true life of heaven. As we serve our God and Holy Spirit, here with the Lord, we fulfill the rapture here on earth, and it's a life of heaven.
Everything God created in this whole world, earth, sea, and sky, it's heaven on earth. Wherever we are, if we serve the Lord, if we live as one, it becomes heaven on the earth. Everything God created is all I know. I'll live only for your will. When you speak your words to me, I will act upon them perfectly. Oh, give me strength to act upon your will, my Lord, and let my thoughts be fixed on you alone. Oh, come to me and teach me, though I'm weak in many ways. Lord, come to me and fill me with your wisdom and your strength. I will leave my thoughts behind, and in everything I will live the way you do. Lord, I ask that you speak to me. Please answer as I call on your name. Oh, give me strength to act upon your will, my Lord, and let my thoughts be fixed on you alone. Oh, come to me and teach me, though I'm weak in many ways. Lord, come to me and fill me with your wisdom and your strength. You are right here with me, so I'll call out to you, Lord. For you walk by my side, pouring your power on me. If I act on your word, we will achieve victory. Lord, would you use me, and let's fulfill your will on this earth. Oh, give me strength to act upon your will, my Lord, and let my thoughts be fixed on you alone. Oh, come to me and teach me, though I'm weak in many ways. Lord, come to me and fill me with your wisdom and your strength. Lord, let me live for you and for your will alone. Oh, can't you feel this earnest heart of mine? Until the end, I'll never give up. I'll fulfill your dream. I will run with you together. We'll fulfill this history. I will do your will, my Lord. It is all I know. I'll live only for your will.
And there you go. That is According to the Lord's Will. That's another old school song. Hope you guys really enjoyed praising with that song. Also, before that, It's So Good and Life of Heaven. All right, so let's get into some word study for today. And today is Thursday, so we always have question answer Thursday. Got a good question yesterday from another lecturer asking me about a newcomer was asking, why didn't God just make us perfect from the beginning? right? Why do we have to go through all this stress, developing and making ourselves and such too, right? So Sunseem did answer this question not a long time ago. I'd say within the last 2 years. Sunseem did talk about this, and I'm sure you guys will remember it. It's from the message about making stories together with God and how important that is. But I'm going to go over a couple of reasons, right? Why it's really important that God, why did God make us not perfect? And why are we making ourselves on this earth, okay? So number one is, first, like these are some of the answers that seems given in the past. It came from the purpose of creation, and because God is a creator, in order for us to live with Him, we also must be creators too. So we are those that create ourselves on this earth. Like, of course, physically speaking, we are creating other human beings, having babies and whatnot. So we do become creators in that sense, but also in the ultimate sense, we are creating ourselves, right? So we become creators to live with God, who is a creator, and we become alike and can live with each other, right? So there's one reason. A second, and the most important, this is the big one, is the most important one is, it has to do with love, right? The ultimate reason why all things happen, the purpose of creation, has become the love counterpart with God. And when it comes down to love, another part that really matters is responsibility, right? And responsibility, especially like when you look at your children, we take care of our children and we just love them so much. And then eventually, as they grow up, they realize the love and they begin to love you back, right? And they never had to, but they will start loving you after they realize how much love you put towards them. Okay, so what happens is we begin to not being perfect, we begin to realize how much God is necessary, how much we need God. And if you even look at what happened, in this week's message, it's like God does 99%. Right? God and the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, are helping us 99% of our life. If there was no help, basically the message was like, human beings, the life is so weak. It's like a thin thread, and we have to realize how important it is to have God there. And ultimately, in the end, it's for us to live together with God in heaven forever. So when we look at all the different things that we do here on this earth, yes, it's important. And yes, we have, husbands and wives and children, all these other different things, but everything is there to prepare us so that we can live together with God in the future forever and ever, right? So we have the second thing I want to talk about is responsibility. Love requires someone to choose to love God back. Right? If everything was, imagine if everything was perfect and you were made perfect from the very beginning, then you would never understand like who God was and how great God is, right? And it would make it even more difficult for us to realize how great God is, because we would be perfect and we'd be like, okay, of course we wouldn't be almighty and all powerful, but the perfection most likely people are talking about is not having to go through all these bumps and bruises all throughout life. But we ultimately, in the end, it's about being together with God. So if it's about being together with God in the end, there has to be a recognition or realization of how great God is and what God has done for us, right? It's just like us, like parents. Like I see my nephews and I see these kids, and they begin to recognize how great their parents are as they rely on them and as they see how much they do for them and how much they really, really love them. And by the time they, grow to become married themselves, then my nephew's parents love their parents even more too, because they're recognizing the shimjung of the parent figure, right? So this responsibility is going to lead to something even bigger, which is obviously having to do with stories, okay? So in the end, if we're going to live forever with God, in the end, right? Then what are we going to talk about forever? What is going to draw us closer to each other? And the one thing that we heard from that Sunday message about making stories with God, these are the things we talk about. These are the things that are, think about this, when you talk about you and your parents talk together, it's like your parents saying, oh, when you were young, I did that too. And when you were young, oh, I remember this. Oh, do you remember this? And we have conversations of these stories that we make together. So we're not just making stories as we go, but we've made a bunch of stories when we were younger as we were making ourselves together. So us not being perfect allows us to do things together with God and make stories together. The stories are the most important things we have in our path of love together with each other. And we have to realize, because of these stories, we draw close to each other. Because of these stories, we can laugh about them. Because of these stories, we cry together. Because of these stories, this is one of the biggest reasons is storytelling. When you look at YouTube and the internet, people are drawn to these stories. Someone talking about how someone saved their life. Someone's talking a funny story of what happened in their life. And this is what people are drawn to. It's these stories. They're true. They're real. It's real emotion. And it's something that we have to recognize and realize that it's the basis of relationships, right? Love doesn't just happen, right? Love is something where two people come together and they go through struggles and they go through different things together, and the relationships are built, and they have all these amazing stories along the way. Relationship takes effort. A relationship takes time, and especially for imperfect people, we are growing together with God. And this is one of the things that we have to recognize and realize is we're not perfect. We're not made perfect, and God knows that we're going to make mistakes. God knows we're going to go through difficult times. And because of that, I really, really believe it's a great thing for us to understand is, God forgives us because we're making ourselves together. We're not God and we're not perfect, right? And having this imperfect creation that's making themselves together with God allows us to build this amazing relationship that will last forever, right? Making relationships takes time, takes effort. We go through difficult times. And as we get through it together, what happens? We have stories that are built that we will talk for eternity, right? So stories are like one of the biggest parts, these experiences that we have in life. We work together and build that love, and it's not something that just happens. Like just this morning, I was talking, me and my cousin and his wife were talking about a story of me forcing my cousin to eat eggs when he hates eggs, right? And it was really funny because, back then it might not have been funny, but we were laughing about it. And there's just these stories we had as we lived together and we grew up with each other. So in the end, remember, the ultimate issue is about love. And it's leading to a goal of living together and forever in love with God. And that requires us to work together, make ourselves, through the words of God, doing it together with God, right? We're all different. We have different characters. We also have different responsibilities. But it's really, really an amazing and moving thing that we have all these stories together with God that later we tell testimonies and people laugh and cry about it or get angry or whatever it is. And it's an amazing thing that everyone has. And without these stories, it's very, very hard to fall in love with God. And we would wonder, what will we talk about when we're in heaven too? Okay, so this was the main answer that Sunseam gave I think within the last 2 years. But go ahead and take a look at that story, making stories with God. That's where this answer came from. So that is the question and answer for today, for this Thursday. And hope you guys really enjoyed that. Which leads us into the song of choice for today. And of course, today is Boy Band Thursday. So I'm going to go back to one of the songs that this is a boy band. It's not one of my favorites, but it was Take That. It's a British boy band, but there was this one song I always sang all the time, and this song is called Want You Back. So I hope you guys really enjoy this on this Boy Band Thursday. The song of choice is Want You Back from Take That.
I guess now it's time for me to give up. I feel it's time. Got a picture of you beside me. Got your lipstick mark still on your coffee cup. Oh yeah. Got a fist of pure emotion. Got a head of shattered dreams. Gotta leave it all behind now. Whatever I said, whatever I didn't mean it. I just want you back for good. Want you back, want you back, want you back for good. Whenever I'm wrong, just tell me the song and I'll sing it. You'll be right and understood. Want you back, want you back, I want you back for good. Unaware but underlined, I figured out the story. No, it wasn't good. the corner of my mind. I celebrated glory, but that was not to be. In the twist of separation, you excelled at being free. Can't you find a little room inside for me? Whatever I said, whatever I did, I didn't mean it. I just want you back for good. Want you back. See, I want you back for good. Whenever I'm wrong, just tell me the song and I'll sing it. You'll be right and understood. Want you back. I want you back for good. And we'll be together. This time is forever. We'll be fighting, and forever we will be so complete in our love. We will never be uncovered again. Whatever I said, whatever I did, I didn't mean it. I just want you back for good. Want you back for good. Whatever I'm wrong, just tell me the song and I'll sing it. You'll be right and understood. Want you back. See, I want you back for good. Whenever I'm wrong, I'll tell you. I just want you back for good. Want you back. I want you back for good. Whenever I'm wrong, I'll tell you. I want you back. I want you back. You see, I want you back for good. Oh yeah. I guess now it's time that you came back for good.
And there you go. That is Want You Back from Take That. Hope you guys really enjoyed that song. The song of choice for today on this Boy Band Thursday. All right, so we're going to get into the last segment for today. And of course, we're going to go into some sport science with a competitive runner in university right now. Her name is Yen Yu from Singapore. Hope you guys really enjoy this episode. Today is episode 3 on this 5-week. There's going to be 5 episodes of this. So I really, really hope you enjoy these more than anything else. So please welcome Yen Yu with Sport Science.
Hello, my name is Yuan Yu. Welcome to this segment on sports and exercise where I share more about sporting principles which people in the field of sports use to create training programs for athletes. I hope that today's sharing can let you understand more about the word from another perspective and serve as practical advice for those who are starting out or have been exercising regularly. Today, we will be covering the third principle, the principle of specificity. The principle of specificity. For training to benefit performance in a sport, training should replicate the movements as a particular sport. In other words, the specific type of exercise determines the specific benefit you receive. This principle is useful if you like to first focus on a particular sport, whether it is running, swimming, cycling, soccer, etc. For example, for a runner training for a marathon, there needs to be a specific training, especially in endurance for running. Sprinting repetitions of 400 meters at 70 seconds does not do the preparation of a 3-hour marathon much good. Swimming laps after laps in a pool or pedaling hours after hours on a bike does improve your endurance but does not develop the specific movement required of running in a marathon. This principle does not apply just to the physical aspects of training, but also in the area of mental preparation. This means the mental focus, attitude, and discipline at every training increases your ability to replicate this same mentality during the actual competition. In addition, training conditions like the training time, venue, equipment used, as well as warm-up and cool-down routine should, as far as possible, replicate competition conditions. It is therefore necessary that you are prepared to make these adjustments closer to the competition period to prepare for the competition. To put this principle into another example, if you want to run 1.5 kilometers in 5 minutes, your body must be subjected to the specific pace of 80 seconds per 400 meters, or 18 kilometers per hour speed. The body will also need to go through 5 minutes of continuous running at such a pace. You probably can't be doing both volume and intensity at the same time. Hence, you would prepare by running at the duration at a slower speed, or run at that speed for a shorter duration. Doing this will gradually prepare your body to fulfill both speed and duration on the race day. In addition, the specific skills of running on the terrain, running during that particular time of the day, what you drink and eat beforehand also need to be practiced. In this way, the ideals of what we want to achieve in our body, mentality, and skill should be what we put into practice in our current daily life. Instead of awaiting for bigger opportunities in the future where we foresee ourselves to be able to perform in a certain task, try to apply that starting from where you are in your current position, either now or in the near future. Linking this to our lives of faith, for example, instead of awaiting for future opportunities where we can have big events in church or head to Womandong, we can start from thinking in our current positions. At what state do I want to be when I go to Womandong in the future? Then starting from now, let me put that into practice. For instance, if I have an opportunity to say something to Sansanim in person, then I really want to be prepared for that, right? So that I can say those words which I want to say at that time. Then, starting from my daily life, if today I had the chance to speak to Sansanim in person, I would think of what I want to say and I'll keep practicing until this comes naturally to me. Then, when I go to Womandong, I'm confident of holding a conversation with Sansanim to convey what I want to say. While this principle of specificity is true, variation in training program, which is doing cross-training, has its own benefits too. This refers to adding a variety of activities such as swimming, cycling, etc. to the main sport that you're doing, adds variety and fun to training. This also reduces the chances of developing overuse injuries by taking off the load that we place from the specific movements in running. In particular, the load on your legs. However, the main focus should still be on the specific training to the demands of the main sport or running event that you would like to do. A variety of activities is good to have earlier on, but as the sporting season progresses, training should still become more specific to the demands of the sporting event or running event that you are working towards. For example, when I was training for my first 1.5 kilometers, at the start, I used to do a larger variety of things, such as 2 speed runs each week, 1 long run over the weekends, 1 strength training session at the gym, as well as a swim or easy jog within that week. As the race drew closer, I focused on the speed runs as well as long runs, and I put a pause to the swimming sessions. I also transitioned the strength training in the gym to simple body weight exercises after my runs. In this way, this is how I transitioned more towards running as the main form of training for my 1.5 km race. Thank you for listening to the end today. On this week, we covered the principle of specificity. Rather, specific type of exercise you do brings about the specific benefit. What do you think about this principle? Stay tuned for next week where we will cover another principle. Goodbye.
And there you go. Thank you so much, Yu, for another wonderful episode of Sports Science. That was the third of a 5-part series. Hope you guys are really enjoying it. All right. So that is the end for this wonderful Thursday. Hope you guys really enjoyed today's podcast. Have an amazing Thursday. And then that means we're going to see you again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive, you know. I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm